you can catch the Smylie Show right here on SportsGrid. New episodes, couple times a week, and we're getting close. It's almost time for the drive down Magnolia Lane as we get ready for the Masters this time next week. They'll be showing up Sunday, Monday, getting themselves all checked. They write in that book, right, Smylie? First, come in, you get your number when you first pull into the Masters. Everybody looks and see who was here first. They check
That's
that
right.
little book. So it's a great moment for all these guys, right? How was it your first time you went in there and you wrote your name on that book, Smylie? How was it?
I was curious to see what number I was going to get because, you feel like you want to get a lucky number, right? You don't want to get some terrible number that a football player wouldn't want to wear. You don't want to look like the backup quarterback. The number I got was 50, which I thought was a great number and turned out to be a pretty good number for the week.
It was a good number for you, that's for sure, that week. Smylie, let's talk about this great win in Houston. We'll start here with Min-Woo Lee, who a great week for us here at the Grid because I know that you picked him for your one and done. So you had Min-Woo Lee this week. On our Golf Wednesday picks, I had Min-Woo Lee. Our boy Keith Stewart had Min-Woo Lee as well. So me, Keith Stewart, and Smylie, all of us in on Min-Woo this past week. So a huge week for us with his victory, his first ever win on the PGA Tour. If you watched Full Swing, you got a little behind-the-scenes look at Min-Woo and his sister. I think a lot of people obviously have been backing him since then too, Smylie. Great job by Min-Woo Lee. Great win heading into the Masters.
Yeah, the golf course Memorial Park didn't exactly test you off the tee. It's a very not a very difficult golf course when it comes to tee to green, but you had to miss it in the right spots. There was tons of rain this week in Houston. Started on Monday, pretty much rained all the way through Friday. So Saturday and Sunday, the golf course never really had that same type of firmness and bite that it had the year prior, where we saw Steven Yeager just edge out Scottie Scheffler. But if there was just a little bit more teeth off the tee, I would like it just a little bit more. Min-Woo Lee was all over the yard on Sunday. I mean, he had some shots that would have been in not only in a backyard, but it would have been in front yards. So he was lucky that he was playing a golf course where you weren't penalized very much off of the tee. Even the one shot that he did penalize himself was the 16th hole, hits it in the water there, but still finds a way to make a bogey on that par 5 and turned out to be just enough to win the golf tournament.
It certainly did, and it had to be tough for him because you know that you're coming down the stretch, you're playing the last 3 or 4 holes. It's got to be human nature to look up at that board, and when you see Scheffler get to 19, you're probably like, oh, man, here we come. Scottie's just charging hard. Let's talk about Scottie for a second. Now, he hasn't had any wins yet this year. He's been kind of getting a little bit better each week. I would say, Smylie, that's as good as a tune-up you would want heading into the Masters, how he played, especially, I thought, Saturday and Sunday in Houston.
Well, he had a course record 62 on Fridays and, really did it with his putter. The ball striking was okay those days. I think he really struggled with how soft the greens were. I think that the numbers would have been much, much better if the greens weren't, so difficult to get the ball to stop. Back pins were just, your guys are hitting 2 extra clubs and just dead handing shots to keep it from spinning basically off of the green. I wouldn't say that would be Scottie's strength. I would say his strength is firmer greens where he's got to really hit into some tight areas. So this week, I wouldn't really necessarily look at those numbers and just use them as, his iron game is okay. It really was fine. I saw a lot of really good stuff from Scottie, especially on Sunday, where I got to watch him all day. Birdie 4 of his last 6, had some chances at 17, and then 18 just totally misjudged the wind. Still got up and down and still had a chance to, make a playoff where, I never really felt like he had a chance that day. I don't even think Scottie felt like he had a chance for the most part that day with how far Min-Woo was out in front. But I think overall, when you look at his game and where he was at the beginning of the year, I think it was the right tune-up for him. I think he should feel pretty decent about where his game's at.
He certainly should, and Rory got a pretty good tune-up going into the Masters as well, as of course it'll be Scottie and Rory, stars of the show, at Augusta next week for the Masters. All right, we have one more tournament before we get there, though, and that, of course, is going to be the Valero Texas Open at TPC San Antonio. always the week before, which is like the golden ticket tournament, right, Smylie? Because you have a group of guys who obviously are in, and they're looking to tune their game like Scottie and Rory did this week. So you're going to have Ludwig Oberto, you're going to have Fleetwood, you've got Cantlay, Jordan's playing, Matsuyama. So those guys, we know what's on their mind. They want to get their game right. That's why they're playing. And then, Smile, we have all these other guys who aren't in to Augusta yet, and there's only one way for them to get there now, and that's to win this whole thing. A lot of big stakes if you're a few of these guys who are not going to Augusta.
Yeah, a good example was last year. Akshay Bhatia, he was a player that was trying to play his way in. He ends up winning the golf tournament. So there's young players that are, trying to find their way to, play in their first major championship. It's an opportunity. You've seen first timers win at this golf course, and then you got other players like you're talking about that are trying to, work on their game a little bit. If they find their way into contention, that's great, but it's not the end all be all. It's just like, let's not wear ourselves out. Let's work on the shots we need to work on. And I think that's what you are probably going to see from guys like Oberg. Probably he's going to play his way into contention. And I think that would be the goal of many of the top guys. But we'll see if the players with everything on the line as far as making it to the major will be able to take down, a Ludwig coming down the stretch. I think that would make for some fun TV.
Well, look, and there's plenty of guys at the top of this board this week who would love a win and not just to tune up. I mean, Tommy Fleetwood would love to finally win an event on the PGA Tour. I know Jordan would love to get back in the winner's circle and get himself high up on that points list again after being hurt last year. How about Gary Woodland, how he played? Because he needs to win, Smylie, and he finished second, 19 under this past week. How about his game? Is that going to translate this week into San Antonio?
Well, he sure played good last week. You have to be a little bit more accurate, obviously, off the tee at Valero. It's a completely different golf course. You get some crosswinds and some really difficult tee shots that can lead to some lost balls. With the way Gary putted last week, that's got to be a huge positive for him. He's worked really hard on that. I think it's one of the main reasons why he found himself near the top. He's obviously still very long. He's second in driving distance. Gary could be a really good pick. But the guy who always plays good at this golf course is Corey Connors. He's the one that it's almost just a no-brainer every year to take Corey at this place because driving is so important. His iron game is good, but the greens play small, and with him always being in the fairway, he's always somewhat around the lead. He's the first guy that pops in my brain for Valero, but as you know, Corey Connors struggles closing out golf tournaments, and Valero is a place he's done it. So maybe those, just the memories of winning at a place will help him get through this week.